So I'm reading this quote right now from something I was looking at, and it says, "There are no obstacles other than those that we mentally put down in our own way," which kind of could summarize the experience of watching The Sandman Season 1. I know it's based on a comic series by Neil Gaiman. I have not read the comics. I don't really read many comics, if I'm actually honest. I've been trying to get into it just because the lore and all of the superheroes are kind of interesting, but I'm mainly a manga reader, light novels and sort of, webtoons, so more like Japanese manga and Japanese manga and Korean webtoons or manhwa, but the Sandman is very interesting. I realize that it's a little different than the comics. I've been looking up little subtle differences on the wiki, but I don't really know all that much. Again, it's like a huge universe. It was spanning, I think, years. The comics were going from, I think, the 60s to the 80s, I believe, if I'm remembering correctly from what I read last night. But either way, the Sandman is not what I expected. I just watched this on a whim. I remember hearing about it when it came out in 2022, and I was like, eh. And I decided to check it out, and I was just blown away. I didn't expect to enjoy it so much. I mean, Morpheus is a little flat in the beginning, but I think that's the point, because he ends up changing, and a lot of characters end up changing and metamorphosizing and becoming something different than they originally was, in order to denote that we're always changing and that change is okay. So the fact that Dream was basically captured by Robert Burgess for 105 years and kept captive by uh, Robert Broderick. I keep saying Roderick Burgess, and then his son Alex is, I don't know, I guess it's just he needed that time to be away. And in that time, while he was gone from the dreaming realm, all of his dreams and his nightmares disappeared. All of his subjects in his kingdom, except for Lucienne, who is his secretary and the librarian of, I want to say, the Akashic records, but it is just the dreaming library, which they explained is where everything written and dreamed goes, even if it's never published. So that's why we see Rose's book later on in the series show up in the records before she submits it to be published, and it's inferred that it will be published. But basically, Lucienne is the only one who stayed loyal, and because of that, she was rewarded with more respect and the responsibility, because she was running the kingdom while Dream was gone and trying to help things not break down so much. And I think Merv was there too. Merv respects Lucienne, the Pumpkinhead, which I feel like there's something with that Pumpkinhead thing, which I'm gonna cover later on in a different video and blog post. But for now, we're just talking about how everybody left. And a lot of the dreams, there was this common theme of them wanting to experience human life because they're there to serve humanity. But kind of like how a lot of people call out Dream for, they don't really know or interact with the human world. The only one who really walks amongst humans is death, which is ironic, but it makes sense because death is all around us, as is life. So that's a balance. So the fact that death is always walking the earth makes sense, and the fact that death wears an ankh, which is a symbol of eternal life, a symbol of, believed to be the womb, the uterus and the womb of a woman, which gives birth. And if you believe in reincarnation and all those other things, it's continuous life. And just like Lucifer, Morningstar, and Hell declare that they will be there at the end, on Judgment Day, to reap the souls. Death even said that she will be there as well to reap the souls and guide them to new life, wherever that life may be. Which, again, just a lot of the show is poetry. It's beautiful. But basically, Roderick Burgess was looking for death, Thanatos, which is the sister of Oneros, or Dream, or Lord Morpheus. He has many names. All of these deities and gods and angels and demons have so many different names throughout history, but they're always changing. Even if the person doesn't change on the surface, their goals, their actions change, and they take a new name. That's even in history too. Actually, a lot of kings and warriors, they change their name. Some even with the Indian kings, They changed their name when they had war names. They had names for times of peace. They had ascension names. I mean, the royals do that today. They change their name when they ascend the throne because they're taking a new role in life, so they need to have a different energy about them, which is interesting, but I keep getting off topic. Basically, Roderick Burgess, he called himself the Magus or Magus wizard, uh, sorcerer, and he fashioned himself and kind of in the time during Aleister Crowley. He wanted to capture death to bring back his oldest son who he loved. He did have his son Alex, but he didn't really care about Alex, and also he had a bastard named John, which he didn't even want alive. He wanted John aborted, which probably would have been best considering how things turned out. I'm sorry if that's mean to say, but it's true. But Roderick was looking for Thanatos, or death, and he ended up getting Dream instead, and Dream was captured for 105 years. There is a hint, I think, during Dream and Death's conversation when they were walking the mortal realm while she was doing her rounds, that Death was fully aware that Roderick was targeting her, and maybe she just let Dream get captured instead. Because can you imagine Death not walking the earth and not being reaped for 105 years? How much chaos that would be. I mean, the dream world wasn't chaos. It was endless sleep, a nightmare named the Corinthian, which reminds me of the Hatman phenomenon years back. The Hatman nightmare phenomenon years back was on the loose, which inspired a whole bunch of serial killers, and it was an entire mess. But in the end, it worked itself out because Unity Kincaid was the only one who woke up from the sleeplessness, the eternal sleepness or the drowsy sickness. It was called something like that, something in Latin, I believe, but I'm not going to look that up right now. And Unity woke up because she is Rose Walker's great grandmother, and she was the dream vortex of their time. Somebody who was born every age or every generation, few generations or so, to draw down the boundaries between the dream world and the waking world, to merge the two. And Lord Morpheus usually has to kill that individual because they could consume him as well and upset the delicate balance that, which I was talking about earlier before I got sidetracked, upset the delicate balance that Morpheus feels imprisons him almost in his role, that he holds the collective consciousness's mind, their hopes, their dreams, and he wants to keep the balance. Otherwise, if he let it get to them, if he let himself feel something, he would fall apart from the weight of all of those emotions and all of that potential and hope, fears, doubts. So he remains kind of aloof and kind of like a stone. But towards the end of the first season, he's not like that anymore. But he is repeatedly called out on that, and he does change due to his time in captivity alone, just in silence for a century, a little over a century and more. There's also the issue of, I guess I should say, Calliope, which was Dream's ex-wife, who he had a son with, who apparently is alive, but he's headless. I don't know if they're going to throw a pumpkin head on him like they do with everybody else who's headless in these sort of shows. But she was also held in captivity by writers because she's a muse, and she was violated in order to extract her powers for ill-sought gains. And when Morpheus is released from his prison, he does come to her aid because she finds out from the fates that he's still around, and well, he's locked up. And then she reads a newspaper about Unity Kincaid waking up and realizes that Dream must be around, and even she goes through 60 years of captivity and decides to change the rules and decides to change how they should go about things. Because the fates specifically say that the old gods, most of them are dead, but we know that with energy doesn't die. It has to be replaced or changed or metamorphosized into something else. So I believe the old gods are still around. They're just under new names, under new identities. Like from my hope video, my video about hope, the power of hope, I highlighted Kratos mainly from the God of War series, how he was initially the god of war. Well, he was a demigod, half human, half mortal, son of Zeus, half brother to Hercules, and then he was made into a god by Athena for selfish reasons, just to be a pawn, which he didn't know at the time. But through that, he became the god of war, and he just wrought so much destruction. He ended up destroying the pantheon and releasing hope back to humanity, which was the most powerful weapon that enabled him to destroy all of the gods in the first place. And the fact that his future wife and giantess Fae pulls him into the Norse realm, the Norse pantheon, after he wanders after the destruction of Greece, which is eventually rebuilt by humanity's hope without the influence of the gods. Kratos becomes something else. By the end of the series, God of War Valhalla, God of War Ragnarok Valhalla, Kratos was once fire and anger, and he becomes ice. He becomes calm and cool, and some say the world will end in fire, others say that the world will end in ice. He becomes the god of hope, and he turns all that negativity into positivity. That same energy is never lost, it's just converted into something else. And the same with Tyr. Tyr was once the god of war in their realm, and it seems like Tyr is now the god of peace and understanding. Very chill, mellow dudes. And with the tyrants of Zeus and Odin gone, probably reborn as something else eventually, that energy is balanced again. So when the Fates, the Norns, told Calliope that the old gods are dead, maybe they're just waiting to be reborn as something else. And just to swing back to Unity Kincaid, she was always supposed to be the vortex of her generation. She even seen that based on the book of her life, what was supposed to happen had she not fallen asleep and had Dream not been captured in captivity. And at the end, she ended up being the vortex still, and she died because of it. And when Unity asked Rose to dig down deep inside of herself and give her what makes her the vortex, it turned out to be Desire's token, Desire's sigil, which is a crystalline heart. And it's kind of funny watching back that scene and seeing Lucien's and Dream's face when they take out the token that they know is Dream's brothers. And then also just Unity saying about her golden-eyed man who she lived with and essentially played house with, like the dollhouse that they always show her with, for most of her life in the dream realm, just to wake up and die in the dream realm later on. It's kind of like everything balanced out in the end. It is sad, but as Unity kind of tells Rose, I was meant to die a long time ago, so this is what I was meant to do. I'll do it so that you can live on. And then this also makes Rose and Jeb children of the Endless, who are imbued with the Endless's not DNA, but just their power and their bloodline, and which is going to pass on throughout humanity based on Jeb and Rose's descendants. So I thought that was just really interesting. I love the bit about Gilbert from Fiddler's Green and how the pasture is a person. It's a spirit. The nature is a spirit, and it's a collective spirit, and it can take human forms occasionally when the opportunity presents itself, which is what a lot of old myths and legends say, which is why nature is so important. Nature spirits are so important, and they need to be respected. And I think the last point I wanted to talk about, I'm just looking through my notes. That dreams exist even in hell. There was a really nice line by Morpheus, which was a sick burn to Lucifer, about how what power does hell have if people can't dream of heaven? I'm just paraphrasing, but it was such a strong line. And it was an accurate depiction of the fallen angel, because we have taken from Dante's 1301 Hell. He describes the morning star as a giant, bearing three faces of different colors, one red for anger, one yellow for envy, and one pure black to denote melancholy. and between the shoulders, Lucifer has two enormous wings with no plumage that resemble that of a bat. So given Gwendolyn Christie's tall stature and her androgynous look, and the fact that Matthew the Raven kept calling Lucifer sire or sir and your majesty because it's an androgynous entity, it's a hermaphrodite, uh, it was pretty accurate. And then the host, Azrael, is actually Iblis, which means despair from the Quran. And I think, who said they cannot be trusted? Mazakim said that that one cannot be trusted in reference to this demon, Lucifer's bannerman, because this was originally a jinn, or Jinninn, or genie, which was made of fire and created before humans. And then when the Most High created humans, everything was asked to bow down in front of Adam. Not Adam Cadmon, but the Adam that actually worked out, like the third or fourth try, I believe. And this deity refused, and he was cursed, and his name was changed, and he was sent to hell because he refused to bow down to Adam because he was made out of fire, and Adam was made out of red clay. And he figured, why should I bow down to a lower being? Or at least that's what it's perceived as. So that name was changed and it became something else, which again is the theme of change and the fact that energy can be positive or negative, but you can always change. Like Galut, I'm saying that wrong, but the nightmare that was helping Jeb Walker, and that we believed to be something that was scaring him, but really she was trying to help him. She was pretending to be his mother, and had him thinking he was a Sandman and fighting crime and a superhero, and was keeping him happy. And it's such an abusive situation. And she's later rewarded by being a dream. And then we have Nada, who was punished by Dream, which I believe had something to do with desire from what I read on the comic wiki, meddling in his life once more. But Kaichul, which sounds, and probably not Aztec, but it sounds like mine or something, if I'm honest. I know they say it's Africa, but they say Black Panther's Africa too, and Black Panther's an American, an American movie, an American comic. It is American lore, so I feel like this is too. Not knocking African legends and all that they got going over there, but a lot of the stuff is our American stories, just retold and reskinned. Same with anime, and a lot of these mythology and legends, when you dig deep down enough. I guess I'm not meant to talk about that right now. That's why it's not coming out. But yeah. I don't know why Dream still hasn't forgiven her. It's been 10,000 years. She is one of the tribes of the first men, which again, America, life started in America. I have text that says that. America was the first to rise from the flood, so it would be America, not Africa, where the first tribe of men existed after the Garden of Eden, and the Garden of Eden is believed to be in South America. But again, not veering off into that right now. That'll be for another time. Dream still hasn't forgiven that woman, so hopefully Dream forgives her in season 2. He seems like he's able to talk to Calliope about their son, what happened to their son in hell, which explains why he has beef with Lucifer. But yeah, it was a great show. I heard that season 2 is coming out in 2025 next year, so hopefully if things don't completely fall apart by then, not putting it out there, but we just have a lot of nonsense going on in America, and it seems like TV shows won't be that important unless they have a message, and people often disregard the message, or they see the cast and they tune it out and say it's not accurate, but really it's probably the true retelling of how it was meant to be, and the comics are given a new face at the time. But anyway, I'm looking forward to season 2, but tell me your thoughts. What did you think about the Sandman season 1 if you watched it? Did you enjoy it? Did what resonated with you? Because I think Unity Kincaid and Rose Walker's story resonated with me the most, and the fact that even dreams can desire to live a human life, and that human life is so precious that even the Corinthian, the nightmare, was so jealous and petty, and that he took male humans' eyes because he wanted to see what they seen. The fact that Dream's kingdom left just because they wanted to experience human life. They want to see what human life is all about. They're meant to serve humans, but they have no idea what humans are doing, and they want to experience life as we do. And that was just so strong to me. It was beautiful. But tell me your thoughts. Leave them in the comment section below. And until next time, oh, and I will see you guys soon. And check out my blog. I should have the post for this up at the time, well, way past the time of me posting this video. Alright, guys. Thank you. Bye.